want to preface this preview by saying I typically love DONTNOD's work. Vampire was even my 2018 Game of the Year, and Reverie is one of my all-time favorites. And while I haven't played Life is Strange as of this recording, it's a title in my backlog I've been eagerly awaiting for some time. Even their lesser-known titles like Twin Mirror and Tell Me Why are memorably ambitious spec-fic urban fantasy stories like no other. However, it's also tradition for every DONTNOD game to have some sort of quirk or wrinkle that can get in the way of things. Not enough to turn off the whole player base, but just enough to keep it from being a major critical commercial success. For Harmony: The Fall of Reverie, that stumbling block is none other than part of its core conceit, which is a bit trickier than just a slight quirk to the side or some minor blemish. You see, where most visual novels and adventure games try to maintain the illusion of a grand narrative that organically reacts to your choices, Harmony rips back the curtain and calls it seeing the future. Except that's so Raven, this isn't, as the sort of fortune-telling you can gather is limited to an opaque sentence at a time, demonstrating early on that your ability to perceive later outcomes is instead a less elegant interface for deciding what routes you want to take, with the only benefit being that sometimes you can see where they'll take you in the near future. I wouldn't open with a criticism like this so early on, but it's really something they push as a bold innovation when it's really just kind of a redundant addition to the interactive narrative formula. It's not that the story itself is bad, but you've seen this kind of layout before, the branching narrative tree, except this is the only way that you can actually interact with anything. The rest of the experience is completely passive from what I played, which is a bold choice, but not quite the one that I would have gone with. It's not that the story itself is bad, it's a little rushed in presentation, leaving you regularly to check the internal glossary, because you've got like roughly a paragraph or two of introduction to establish the setting, the lead Polly, who also goes by Harmony in another realm, and as soon as you understand who she is in the human realm, you're suddenly being introduced to this astral realm of Reverie, populated by godlike aspirations such as bliss, power, and bond. You're likely going to be piecing things together on the fly, which can be additionally overwhelming when some of the more detailed backgrounds are thrown at you. While it might present itself with a more traditional visual novel style, the game is far from a bunch of flat static backgrounds and unmoving characters with full animated character sprites and sometimes even full 3D backgrounds. Considering what other studios of DONTNOD's caliber have been putting out in the genre, such as the cringeworthy mess that was Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, the acting and dialogue are also refreshingly charming. It's nice to see someone finally nailing these aspects again. There will be some who love this world of diverse gods and humans caught in a struggle to survive in an evolving world. You see, you, as Polly, essentially have to decide which aspiration becomes the new temporary god of humanity for the next age or so, while on the human side of things, you have to reconnect with your estranged family while searching for your mother, and a massive corporation is trying to buy up your alt history home city like something out of Disco Elysium. It's just that, again, unfortunately, the extent to which you actively participate with the story is where Harmony falls short. You can easily just set the game to autoplay dialogue and treat the vast majority of the experience like an oddly presented TV show, not a game. Even by comparison to the likes of Telltale or DONTNOD's other adventure games, even some Twine games like Screw You Bear Dad, there's just nowhere near as much actual interaction. Polly is really the one at the wheel here. You just occasionally nudge her to go in one direction or another. What's peculiar is there's a way they could have played with this that I think may have made it at least a little bit more engaging, because this is DONTNOD. They made Remember Me, which was all about rewinding and going fast forward, and from what I understand, that whole idea about messing with time was part of the inspiration for Harmony, so it's weird that that whole gameplay concept of going backwards and forwards in time wasn't played with here. As it is, it's just far too easy to become disengaged, paired with an early lack of clear motivation besides Polly's desire to find her mother. A lot of the other concepts surrounding you are far too abstract at first for you to really get to grips with, though a handy chat log lets you reread the current chapter's conversations for future reference. Both this and the glossary are welcome accessibility features, but it's not great how necessary they'll feel for what's otherwise two fairly straightforward concepts. You got a shared family trying to put itself back together, and a popularity contest where you're the judge judge, but all the contestants can read your mind and are vying for your favor. Whether these aspects are deal breakers hinges heavily on how concerned you are with having control over the story. If a somewhat branching audiovisual novel boasting solid acting and animation is your jam, more power to you. However, if you were hoping for something as reactive as Vampire or unexpected as Life is Strange, this isn't it. If anything, this feels like the most modest offering from DONTNOD in years. It remains as creative as their previous stories, but I can't help but wonder why this particular assemblage was deemed the best way to tell this tale. And for the rest of this week, you can actually check it out yourself on Steam for LudoNarrativeCon. So feel free, give it a whirl. Maybe you'll find something to like. But yeah, if you're hoping for something with a lot more direct engagement from the player, this will probably leave you a little disappointed. Harmony: The Fall of Reverie releases later this year, June 2023, on PC, Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation, all next gen. I've been the Unabridged Gamer, signing off.